So this is a really cool RAV4 2010 4-cylinder 2.5 liter engine. Having a little trouble. Generator needed replacing, and when I got the new generator in, of course I looked at the fan belt, and serpentine belt was cracked, and I said, well, I'll just pop it back on. And I watched probably 10 or 15 YouTube videos on how to get the alternator back on. And of course they would always say, oh, you just pop the serpentine belt here, and you'll be done. Well, you can watch those guys, and if it works for you, go for it. Do what they did. None of it worked for me. And I'm sorry, this is not a beginning to end video. You're getting to see the end of 4 days of me trying to put a serpentine belt onto RAV4. Now, you can ask, what's all this monkey business in here? And good Lord, I wish I didn't have to explain it, but I will. When you look at the online videos, you'll see there's something called a tensioner. This is something a lot of cars have. It's what allows you to loop the belt around the various water pump, the generator, the drive shaft, air conditioner, and then it takes up the slack, takes up that tension. And the way it works is there is what looks to be a bolt head or a nut head on it that you slip a wrench over. It can be a socket wrench, it can be a open end wrench, and then you pry it. You attach it, and then you pry it in a clockwise manner, and that will relieve the tension of the tensioner. God knows I'd love to show you what the tensioner is, but on this and probably every other video you see, you're going to be dealing with the fact that Toyota put a total of an inch clearance to do anything at all in here. So you can't see the belt other than one spot. You can't see the tensioner other than the one little nut-shaped attachment. So the problem is all those people in the video were working apparently by themselves, and yet whenever I got up top to start wrapping the serpentine belt, it would come loose from the bottom. And when I got underneath the car to wrap the serpentine belt, it would come loose on the top. So I'm going to undo what I had to do. I got a couple of clamps from the workshop. And by the way, I've used just about every one of these things in the last 4 days trying to get this one single serpentine belt on. Got another clamp. These two clamps were serving one purpose, and that was to be my second self up top, keeping the new belt in position on the generator alternator. I'm not a mechanic. Keeping it in the correct position on the wheel, on the side of the alternator, so that it wouldn't slip off when I was underneath the car. Well, when you're underneath the car, you're supposed to be winding it under the tensioner and over the crankshaft and back around the air conditioning, and there's something else down there, heck, I don't know. But there should be 4 of them on this model. Now, I will warn you, you will get online and say, well, John, I see tons of diagrams for a serpentine belt for a 2010 4-cylinder 2.5 liter RAV4, and they look nothing like what I've actually got. They've got 5 wheels plus a tensioner. I've got 4 wheels plus a tensioner. Probably 1 out of 10 diagrams that were labeled for this car showed the configuration I have. I have no idea. I never found out what that 5th wheel was supposedly doing on the other videos. Sorry, I'm a little wound up. It's been 4 days. My wife is never gonna let me claim I save any time at all by working on my own car. Now this goofy thing, I just won't embarrass myself by explaining it. It's just a way to hold the tension as if you had a good buddy up here pulling back on that tensioner to keep it taut while you're underneath the car winding the serpentine belt. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove this tensioner Here, my tensioner, it's really a bungee cord. Ugh. Dropping that on the floor. Yeah, if I had the right tools, I wouldn't need to be doing what I'm doing. But so I'm taking this off now. This is just happened to be a nice open-ended. I can't believe I'm doing this video. Open-ended socket, which fit over the end of this little handle. There you can see it's pretty much a traditional socket, and it attaches to that thing. Once I get the socket off, I'll show you. Okay. Again, you'll see this on the other videos. I'm not showing you anything you won't see elsewhere, but I'm just telling you. Notice this looks like a little hex bolt or a hex nut. It's not. It's just got that shape, so you can put a socket wrench or a open-ended box wrench or box wrench over the end of it and pry it. And when you pry it towards the front of the car, it will ease the tension on the belt that you can see going under the pulley that's part of the tensioner. So why make this video? Why not just admit I'm an idiot that took four days to do a job that the other videos claimed took like a minute? Well, I'll show you what I had to do. Let me get under here. And I'm telling you, friends, if you can find a way to light up the underside of a RAV4 while you're working on it, I'd love to hear it. I've just got a halogen utility lamp that I keep moving around. Okay, so looking for it. What I had to do. I haven't told you what the problem was. And again, this is not a beginning to end video. The problem was I was able to route it to the places that were described on the routing diagrams that applied to this vehicle. The problem is it wouldn't go over that last wheel. No matter which one of the wheels you saved for last, it would not go over that wheel. And I mean, it was just insane. It would almost go over, but this thing does not stretch at all. I mean, really, if you think about it, you don't want your fan belt, your serpentine belt to be stretchy. No, you want it rigid as a chain if you can. So when you're close to getting it over a wheel, that is not good enough. It is not going to go over that wheel. You cannot almost get it over the rim. So there I was, stuck for 4 days trying over and over again to get it to go over whichever one of these 4 wheels I could get it on. And this is the wheel for the tensioner. This little wheel right here is just the bottom part of that swiveling tensioner. No matter which of the 4 main wheels or the tensioner that I saved for last, the serpentine belt would never go over the final wheel. I took the fan belt back to the store and said, guys, you've sold me the wrong fan belt. It won't go over the wheel. Well, they measured it and they double checked the catalog, and it was a correct belt. Although I did swap the first one they sold me for one that had more obvious grooves on the inside. The first belt I had did not have grooves that were as obvious as the grooves that are on these wheels. So that's something I would just say is a tip, to make sure you get a belt where the notches really are shaped like V's already, because that'll help that belt sit more deeply into the grooves that are in the wheel. But let me cut to the chase here. It's too late to be brief, but I'll cut to the chase and say I had finally gotten it down to where the best I could do was to get it wrapped around all the wheels except for this air conditioner one. It seemed to be close. I mean, it was just so close. It was almost wanting to go over that rim, but it wouldn't do it. And I thought, this is just like when I was a kid trying to put a chain on a bicycle. The only way you can get a chain on a bicycle, at least when I was a kid, was to rotate the wheel, get the chain almost all the way around the sprocket, and then just crank that bicycle pedal, and the chain would jump into the sprocket. And I said, well, by golly, I'm going to try that. And I noticed the main crankshaft has, of course, a nut on it. And I went and I found the socket for it. And I thought, this sucker's never going to budge. This is the engine, for God's sakes. It's not going to budge just from me cranking on it. But after 4 days, Brand, you'll try anything. So I put in my socket wrench. This was up here almost on that air conditioning wheel, but not quite. And I cranked it. And I cranked it. Do you know what? That belt popped right on there. And I saw 4 days of frustration, misery, watching YouTube videos, all just evaporate into a cloud of happiness. So I'm sorry you've had to sit through 10 minutes of hearing me talk about what an idiot I am, but what I just showed you, if you're having trouble getting your Serpentine belt onto your 2010 2.5 liter 4-cylinder RAV4, I just showed you how to do it. Best of luck. God bless. Thanks for watching.